to another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
So Joanne, what do you think we should cover tonight?
Well, I thought maybe we could talk about this whole postage requisition feature.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay?
Yep. A couple things maybe before we go in and step through it. So we've added a functionality on the requisition screen in order entry where you can flag the requisition as being postage.
Okay.
So you could have, a CSR sales rep go directly to a job, make a requisition for the mailing side of the order, creating an internal record for that postage request or requisition.
Okay.
And that can alert someone else in the shop that they can now go ahead and pre-bill for that postage.
Okay, so that works kind of like a requisition for material or
Very similar,
or
right?
outside service. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Is there anything you have to set up before you can use that feature?
There is. There's an option in accounts receivable. So if I open up here to AR, in the system setup, there's an option here to use postage requisitions. And really what that does on the main postage screen, which we can go into in a little bit here in AR, it toggles between the postage deposit request and the postage requisitions.
Okay.
Which the request, if everybody remembers, we did a video on that a while ago. You can go directly to purchasing, make a postage request, which is basically going directly to a customer.
Okay.
So you can make a request directly of your customer to go ahead and send in postage for. That's going to be good for, something that's going to span over time, requesting a large amount that's going to come in, sit as an open deposit maybe,
Okay.
and then get used up over time.
Okay.
Where this is the postage requisition here would be great for job-specific things.
Okay.
Where a CSR can go right to a job and say, hey, I need, $200 for this job, and then they can pre-bill off of that.
Okay, sounds good. Can we take a look?
Sure. So I have this option set here to use postage requisitions, so that'll flag the inquiry that way. Now I have a job set up that we can look at. So if I go to order entry, job here, and I'm just going to go to the requisitions screen here. So off of my outside service, which I set up for the mailing component of this job. All right, it's requiring 225 pieces. So here's the requisition I set up. I'll just open this up. You can see it displays the number of pieces, requested value, the date, who requested it, so you can pop in here and the CSR can pull in their name in there, and you can even put it to somebody's specific attention. And then you can pick a specific method. If you've got multiple, you can set up miscellaneous postage tracking mailing processes, and you can select one here.
Okay.
Okay. And then you've got a special comments box. Okay. And then you can print the requisition report out just like you would for any material.
Okay, so this requisition was created using the postage rec button, not the create rec button.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Now can we take a look at what that looks like in AR?
Sure. Okay. So then what would happen is, if I go into AR, now on my postage screen, notice this is where it toggles between postage requisition and postage deposit request. So whichever way you've got that set.
Okay.
All right. So here's our requisition here. Notice it was put to your attention, so that kind of would flag the person that they can go ahead and pre-bill for the postage, which I can trigger right here. Okay. And so this, some of that information that was on the requisition feeds in here as informational.
Okay.
It is flagged as a postage invoice, and it's flagged as a partial invoice, because obviously this isn't going to be the final invoice for the job. We're just billing for the postage.
Okay.
For the mailing part of it. Okay. So that would save as normal. Whoops. Fix my tax. And I would save it and post it like normal. Okay. And then what I want to do is I can take you through now. Let's go out to shipping and take a look at what, because you may use more than that $180 of postage.
Okay.
So shipping would still take the step to record what was actually used, and then any surplus would come onto the jobs invoice at the end.
Okay, let's take a look at that.
All right, so if I jump to shipping, okay, I've already got a shipment in place. Now also just to show you, and we looked at this in a prior video, but the postage status button still updates with all the information that's been done to this point. So you'll see information off that requisition, how many pieces were requisitioned, the amount. In here you'll see whether the postage has been invoiced. And then in shipping, okay, you'll see that down here. Okay, what was actually used. And they can just key that in right here. So let's say we requested 180, let's say we actually used 190. Okay, close. And I'm actually going to do one more thing before we do the final invoice. So let's say the customer sends the check for that 180. I'm just kind of giving a little bit of a walk through the whole process here. So if we just say they paid this invoice, post it, and then we will go invoice the final piece for the job. Okay. So now that we've sent the first invoice out, they paid for that.
Right.
Now we're ready to invoice for the final piece of the job.
Okay.
Okay. So remember, we did that first as a partial invoice. So we would see the invoice, the job in here. So here's our partial invoice. I'm sorry, here's the partial invoice here. I'll do the final invoice. Okay. Now we've already billed for the mailing. So we're going to remove that from this one. Let's say there's no freight. And then remember, we put $10 of surplus over and above that postage. So the system recognized that and automatically brought in that difference.
Okay, great.
Okay. So
Makes
that's
sense.
really how that should work there. And then this would be treated just like an invoice, save it, post it. And
Okay, sounds good.
Make sense?
Makes sense. Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
No, that was great. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching. This was another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
Please look forward for more to come.